Hi, everybody. My name is Richard.lesperance, and I go by the name of mymenrichard. Welcome to a better lifestyle. Today's topic, we're going to talk about social media marketing. I have with me Katie Brinkley. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right.
Yep, that's exactly how you say it.
Great. So I have Katie with me. So she has a lot of experience in the space. I think you guys are gonna like this episode. Katie, tell us a little bit about your story, and we'll get started.
Amazing. Yeah. So I has started my business about 7 years ago. And when I started in the world of social media, it was back in the days of MySpace. I was helping bands with their MySpace pages. And I've always been really drawn to the connections that can happen online when you go in with intention. And so that's what we do at my agency. We build your business, we build your brand by generating the right type of people to be a part of your social media community. And it's by doing so with as few as 4 posts a week. I'm a big proponent, even though I have a social media agency, I'm a big proponent for showing up less on social media, but more impactfully so that you make a bigger difference and you can grow the right people that want to be connected with you.
Hmm. I'll ask the question later for for the for the frequency because that was one of my questions. You kind of said something in that. Uh, how does a business, when using social media, how do they become successful at it, and so that social media could work for them?
Yeah, so I think that one of the very first things that you need to do is take a step back and look and see which social media platforms should you be on. You don't need to be on every single social media platform known to mankind. And I think that when you show up on the right platforms the right way, you don't need to post so much. So I think that that's one of the biggest mistakes so many people are making is that they think they need to be everywhere posting all day every day. But if you're constantly creating content, how are you actually growing your business?
Okay. So with organic, you have organic and you have paid. Uh, Obviously, if you're doing organic, it's gonna be slower than the ROI is gonna be slower. So what do you have to say for those people who are going that way, like the organic way? And then we'll talk about the paid stuff.
Yeah, so I think that when you're posting organically, you don't when you have the right strategy in place. What I implement is my 4 post strategy. So I call it the awareness to action strategy. So bringing people aware of the problem, educating them on the problem, telling them how you overcame this problem, and then asking them to take action. Whether it's listening to the podcast, signing up for your lead magnet, you name it. I think that is one of the best ways to really grow out your social media. And it's posting just a few times a week, and it's posting to the right people. So the best organic strategies is knowing the intention behind every single post. Do you want to post for awareness? Do you want to post for engagement? Are you asking people to leave social media? When you know the answer to what it is you want people to do, it makes creating the posts much, much easier.
Mm. And when it comes to paid advertisement, some people sometimes I listen to some stories and they say like they've tried but it didn't work. So what do you have to say about that?
Well, with paid social media, it's a long game. You can't just throw $100 behind a post and expect it to, generate thousands of leads for you. Remember, depending on the price of your product, if you're asking people to sign up for $1,000 course and nobody's ever heard of you, it's going to be really hard to get them to make that purchase. Whereas if you're asking them to make a $7 purchase, it's going to be a lot easier for people to say, sure, I'll give it a shot. So know how much the cost of your product is. And if you're asking people to make a big purchase, you have to spend more because you have to make them aware of you first. You have to make sure that one, they know, like, and trust you, and they're willing to give you that $1,000, as opposed to, I mean, I've a $7 razor or something is not necessarily as much of a brand awareness that you need to do.
And with a lot of people online, there's a lot of noise. How does someone break to that noise?
By being you, especially like you said, there's a lot of people on social media, and AI is involved now. And trust me, it's really easy just to type something into ChatGPT and say, hey, I would like a social media post. But how can you show up as you? What is it that makes you different? Why should people trust you? And I think that what is it that makes you different is that remarkability factor, the thing that people say, oh, well, this is something that only they're saying or only they're doing. So once you make your remarkability factor, people are going to want to hear more from you. They're going to want to see your posts. They're going to check out your feed regularly if they haven't heard from you in a while. So make sure that you say what it is that makes you and your company different, because there's a lot of people out there. I wish I could say I was the only person doing social media, but what is it, that one thing that makes me different is I'm telling people not to be on there so much. So find out what your differentiator is and go all in on that, and the right people will want to be in your community.
Do you think there's a right time to post on social media, like 12 o'clock, 6 a.m.?
It's different for everybody. I mean, there's no, I mean, this is where it's so important to look at your insights and check your metrics regularly. And I mean, I know that my best posting days are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I don't post on the weekends because most of my audience is trained for that. They know that my next post is not going to be on until the next week if they want to check on a Friday. So look to see when people are on, when your best posts do perform the best. So if you have a reel that does really good on Monday at 4, was it the messaging in the reel? Was it that the type of reel that you did? Was it the day that you did it? All of these things are important metrics that you need to be looking at so that you can replicate it and you're not having to reinvent the wheel every single week.
You were speaking about AI before. How's the angle? Like, how can someone really benefit from AI and social media?
Use it as a tool. I think that with AI, if you're using AI as the robot on your shoulder, not at the keyboard, it's going to make things so much easier for you. Use it as that brainstorming tool, that tool that can help you proofread and be that second set of eyes, but don't have it replace you. And I think, I actually did a poll on LinkedIn recently and said, like, has AI ruined emojis? Because there's so many people that are just copying and pasting these social media captions from ChatGPT, and they're loaded with emojis. So now whenever I see a social media post that's riddled with emojis, I assume that it's just been written by AI, and I just continue scrolling. So find a way to bring the human side into using AI. Again, use it as that tool, as that companion, as that brainstorm partner, but don't have it replace you.
Not everybody is familiar with all the digital space and the online space. They may be doing some stuff on social media, but there's a thing called shadow banning. Shadow ban. If that happens to someone, maybe people don't know what is shadow ban, or what is shadow ban, and how could someone prevent that from that happening to them?
Honestly, I don't believe in shadow banning. I think that, if you're doing the right type of social media post going in with intention, it's just, I don't think shadow banning exists. I think that it's just a shift in the algorithm with the way that you've been creating content. So look at your metrics and make sure that you're not doing anything that is against Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn's, user agreement and code and code for people to be using their platform. So a lot of people think that they might be shadow banning, but technically they're not abiding by the terms of service.
Okay. What would you say is people's biggest mistakes for not succeeding with social media?
Consistency. You have to remain consistent, whether it's posting every day, whether it's posting 4 times a week, or whether it's posting 4 times a month. Consistency is the key. And I think that one of the biggest things many people forget about is it's called social media for a reason. You do need to be active on these platforms. Approach going on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, the same as you would checking your business inbox. You have to go in with intention and be prepared to work. If you're just going in and mindlessly scrolling a bunch of videos that don't pertain to you or your business, then you're wasting your time. So how can you go in on social media with intention? Know who your target audience is, engage with their posts, look to see who your power partners are, engage with their content. When you don't need to spend a ton of time on social media, but when you go in and you're spending quality time as you would approach your business, that's what's going to move the needle for you. That's what's really going to help you see more results from social media.
What are the trends you see in the future for social media, or even at the present?
I think that in 2023 it was the year of AI. I think 2024 is going to be the year of human. We can, like I said earlier, you can have AI write a social media caption for you. You can replicate your voice using 11 Labs. You can clone yourself or even deepfake yourself for social media videos. But what's going to move the needle in this world of AI is going to be you. You showing up, the ahs, the ums, the awkward faces, you name it. That's what's going to help build your community and have people say, that's my person. That's who I want to do business with. I like how they do this. I like how they say that. So don't forget to include yourself and bring the human side of you in this world of AI as social media continues to evolve in this AI-driven world.
So how does someone, you mentioned a little bit about the community. So how, if someone is struggling with building a community, a community, how could they build a strong online community?
It comes back to intention. When you're showing up with intention on these platforms, people know that it's you that's responding. It's not an assistant. And this is what I love about a lot of the smaller social media accounts is that you're actually connecting with the person that's creating the content. So I think that as you're building your community and as you respond to comments, as you engage with posts, as you create Instagram or Facebook stories, that's what's going to build out your community. And showing the people that follow you a little bit of love, respond to their comments. I think it's one of those things where a lot of people forget, like, oh yeah, there's a ton of comments here. I probably should answer them. So don't forget that there's somebody else on the other side of the keyboard, and talk to them. Let them know that you're a real human and what it is that makes you different.
So, with all your years of experience in the space, in the digital space, what have you learned, like concerning people doing well on the internet?
I think that the people that are doing it well are the ones that show up consistently a variety of ways. One thing you need to remember is that not everyone consumes content the same way. There's short form video, there's long form, blogs, there's long form podcast audio, there's live streaming. there's carousel posts, there's all these different ways to create content. And if you're only creating content one way, you're missing out on how somebody else might absorb the information the best. For me, most of the time when I'm on social media, I'm with my kids. I'm at a soccer practice or something, or I'm watching a Disney movie for the 100th time. So I have the sound off. Reels, TikToks, those, I just scroll right on past them. But if you give me a good old-fashioned LinkedIn article, I will sit there and spend the time reading it because I can do that with no sound. So remember, everyone consumes content differently. You need to create content a variety of ways.
What are the different hacks like on social media people could use? Or hashtags really nowadays, or do they really work still? And how do you use them?
Hashtags still work, but think of hashtags as like the library. How do you want your content to be sorted? They can definitely help you gain more reach. They can help you be found by your target audience. But, hashtag love, hashtag social media, those are just a waste of your time unless you have 1 million followers, because you're never going to be found. So it's with those really, really smaller hashtags that pertain exactly to your messaging, your social media post, your business. Those are the ones that are going to work, and they're going to be evergreen. You're going to be able to live longer in those hashtag hubs. So hashtags still work. I think that one thing that people need to consider is the captions, because captions for social media are sorted by SEO now. That's how you're being found. So write a quality caption that's directed specifically to your target audience, and you're going to be found by the right people.
So you say captions and SEO. Is that for all the platforms when it comes to captions?
For Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok's getting that way. I mean, even YouTube Shorts, hashtags work. I think that I think the biggest thing is to write a quality caption. So have it formatted correctly for that platform. Have it, talking to your target audience. And if you're talking to everyone, then you're really talking to no one. So specifically say, I remember so if you're a realtor and you want to be showcasing a new home in a certain neighborhood, make sure you say the city in the caption. Make sure you say a new house. Make sure that you say maybe a school that's in that area, because that's all the things that people are the algorithm is going to funnel in to the right people based on what your caption says. So write a caption that is SEO driven and that is meaningful enough for people to want to read.
Speaking of SEO, how does someone, because that's a whole ball game, but you have keywords and all that. How would someone who's not an expert really and who's trying to figure it out, how would they use SEO?
So one of the biggest things is for SEO and your captions is to do an audit of who you're talking to on each platform. So on LinkedIn, I know exactly who I'm talking to. Instagram, I know who I'm talking to. And again, this goes back to checking your metrics and your insights. So if you're looking at Instagram, my Instagram is 82% women ages 35 to 54. I know exactly who I'm talking to. Whereas on LinkedIn, it's 60% men that follow me. So I might be still promoting my latest Rocky Mountain Marketing podcast episode, but I'm shifting the messaging for each platform so that I highlight a certain part of the caption specifically for women entrepreneurs or mompreneurs on Instagram, or CEOs and founders on LinkedIn. So do that audit, know who it is that you're talking to. And then honestly, this is where you can use ChatGPT. Say, I'd like you to help me build a client avatar For my LinkedIn audience, here is some information about them. This is the type of posts that I've been writing that have performed the best. Look to see, let's name this avatar. So then when you go back in and say, hey, I need to write a social media post about my latest podcast episode, let's write it for my LinkedIn avatar, Eric. It will then help you write that SEO driven caption over on LinkedIn for that avatar.
Going back to the hashtags, is there some people say you have to put 3 hashtags. If you put more, it's not going to work. Is that true?
It's the mini skirt rule. It's short enough to keep it interesting, but long enough to cover everything. If you're just copying and pasting a whole bunch of random hashtags that have nothing to do with your caption, then it's not going to work. And you only need to use 3. So use as many as makes sense. If you are like, I can't really think of anything else that would make sense for this, then you don't need any more. I mean, like most of the time, honestly, I'm around like 15 to 20 hashtags over on Instagram. Whereas on LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, I only use 3. So each platform's different, but make sure that you're using hashtags that are relevant for your content.
When you were saying, I think you were saying before that when you use a hashtag, if I don't remember if the volume is too much, let's say when you click fashion, something like that, you put hashtag fashion and you see 50 million. And then you see another one that's close to fashion, maybe fashion trends, that is maybe 1 million. Is using the one that's 1 million better than using the one that says 50 million? Or it's the
Go ahead.
Or it's the same thing. It doesn't matter.
I think it's with social media, it's always changing. I think that you look at, I feel like I'm on a broken record here, but look at your metrics, do a quarterly audit of what's worked and what it hasn't worked, because think like Threads, back in July of 2023, that was like what everyone was talking about. And then it kind of faded away. And then, before that, like, oh, well, there's this new prompt for ChatGPT. And then there's it. And so things are always evolving. They're always changing. Just make sure that you are checking your metrics to see what's working and what's kind of, what's not working anymore. Because something that worked for me a year ago isn't working anymore. So I have to evolve and make a different type of content that will work.
So what are some stuff that you're working right now at the moment?
So right now, I have my book that's come out. I'm speaking at quite a few events in 2024. I've got Podfest and Capshovians Live and a number of other events that I'll be showing up at 2024. I'm sponsoring my first event here in Denver, so that's exciting. And my podcast, that's kind of the evergreen thing in my life and in my business, always updating. I do 2 episodes a week, so to keep up to date with all the social media changes and trends, definitely recommend checking out my podcast.
What's the name of the podcast?
Rocky Mountain Marketing.
Okay. Do you have 1 podcast or 2?
I have 1, and it comes out twice a week.
Okay. Because I think on another podcast that you had 2 podcasts. So I don't know.
I had 4 at one time.
Wow.
Yeah, I was up to 4 podcasts at one point, and now it's I've kind of siloed everything in.
Okay. Where besides the podcast, where can people find you on social media or the internet?
Yeah, check me out at katiebrinkley.com.
Okay. Any last words in regards to social media marketing that you want to say?
It works when you go in with intention and when you go in with a strategy. I think that with social media, take that step back and look to see what's working and what isn't. go all in on one or two platforms and be mindful of how you're showing up and you're giving your time to these apps. That's what they want, is your time. So how can you get some of your time back? And it's by going in with intention, creating content, but also engaging with content.
Okay. Thanks, Katie, for being here. It was
Thank you.
no problem. It was nice meeting you. And I hope everybody found some value in that episode, and they learned something so they could apply it in their business and in their life. So once again, thank you everybody for taking the time to listen to this podcast. Welcome to A Better Lifestyle. My name is Richard.lesperance, and I go by the name of mymenrichard. And I was with Katie Brinkley, and we'll see you on the next episode, everybody. Bye.